I was a devoted dad and husband, always prioritizing my family above everything else. My 6-year-old daughter Lily was the light of my life, and we shared an unbreakable bond filled with laughter and adventure. My wife Amanda and I built what I thought was a perfect life together despite her occasional insecurities. She had always experienced vivid dreams that sometimes affected her mood the following day, but I never imagined one would tear our world apart. That morning, based solely on a dream, Amanda accused me of something unthinkable involving our daughter. The accusation hit me like a physical blow. Before I continue this nightmare, where are you watching from today? Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to hear how our home security system saved, not just my reputation, but my entire life. I had been working as a software engineer for over 10 years when Lily was born. After her arrival, I negotiated a work-from-home arrangement with my company, wanting to be present for every milestone in her development. The flexibility allowed me to maintain my career trajectory while balancing family responsibilities. I configured my home office to maximize productivity during working hours, while still being accessible if Lily or Amanda needed me. My relationship with Lily was special from day one. I was the first to hold her after Amanda in the delivery room, and the tiny fingers that wrapped around mine created an instant, unbreakable connection. As she grew, I cherished being part of her daily routine. I would wake up early to prepare breakfast before my first meetings, just to see her sleepy smile as she padded into the kitchen in her unicorn pajamas. We developed our own special rituals that became the foundation of our bond. Saturday mornings were sacred for our pancake breakfasts, where I would create silly shapes and characters that made her giggle uncontrollably. Every night, no matter how busy work had been, I would read her bedtime stories, doing all the character voices that she loved. As she grew older, I helped her with homework, encouraging her developing interests in science and art. Our weekend adventures became legendary in our household. We would explore local parks, visit the Children's Museum where she would pretend to be a paleontologist, uncovering dinosaur bones, or spend hours at the community pool where I taught her to swim. The day she finally rode her bike without training wheels, her face beaming with pride as I jogged alongside her, remains one of my most treasured memories. Amanda and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party 8 years ago. She was wearing a blue dress that matched her eyes, and I was immediately drawn to her warm laugh and the way she listened intently to everyone who spoke to her. After awkwardly spilling my drink near her, I apologized profusely, which she found endearing rather than annoying. We exchanged numbers, and I called her the very next day, unable to wait the customary 3 days that my friends advised. Our dating phase was a whirlwind of discovery and connection. Amanda worked as a pediatric nurse, her natural compassion evident in how she cared for the children in her ward. We bonded over our shared love of old movies, hiking trails, and trying new restaurants. After 18 months of dating, I proposed during a weekend trip to her favorite lakeside cabin. The wedding was intimate, just close friends and family, celebrating our commitment under strings of twinkling lights in her parents' backyard. The first years of marriage were blissful as we built our life together. We moved into a modest 3-bedroom house in a family-friendly neighborhood with plans to fill it with children eventually. When Amanda became pregnant with Lily, we transformed the spare bedroom into a nursery together, painting clouds on the ceiling and assembling furniture with varying degrees of success. Adjusting to parenthood strengthened our bond initially. We tackled midnight feedings as a team, celebrated first words and steps together, and supported each other through the inevitable challenges. Amanda's schedule as a nurse meant rotating shifts, sometimes working nights or weekends, but we made it work. I would take over completely when she needed to rest before or after shifts, and she would do the same when I had important deadlines. The decision to install a comprehensive home security system came after a break-in 2 blocks away from our house. The neighbors had come home to find their valuables stolen, and their sense of safety shattered. With my background in technology, I researched the best systems that would provide both security and peace of mind. I selected a setup that included cameras at front and back entrances, motion sensors, and cameras in the common areas of the house, including the living room, kitchen, and hallways. Amanda initially expressed reservations about the cameras inside our home. "It feels weird knowing we are being recorded all the time," she said as I installed the living room camera. "What about our privacy?" I explained my reasoning carefully. "The interior cameras only cover the main areas and entrances to rooms, not our bedroom or bathrooms. They are just an extra layer of protection, especially when one of us is home alone with Lily or when you are working night shifts. She eventually agreed, particularly after another incident in our neighborhood made the local news. The system was sophisticated but user-friendly, allowing us to check feeds from our phones and storing footage for up to 60 days on a secure cloud server. I never imagined this technology would one day become the most important investment of my life. Looking back, there were subtle signs that something was changing in our otherwise happy home. Amanda had always been prone to stress, particularly during busy periods at the hospital, but about 6 months before the accusation, her mood swings became more pronounced. She would come home from shifts irritable and withdrawn, sometimes snapping at minor issues that would not have bothered her before. Her dreams also began to feature more prominently in our morning conversations. Amanda had always been a vivid dreamer, often recounting elaborate scenarios over breakfast, but they took on a new intensity. "It was so real, Steve," she would say, describing dreams about patients at work or arguments with colleagues that had never actually happened. Occasionally, she would confuse these dreams with reality in small ways. She once asked me why I had not fixed the leaking bathroom faucet, as I had promised, becoming frustrated when I explained that we had never discussed any leak. It took showing her the perfectly functional faucet to convince her that she had dreamed our conversation. I was concerned but supportive during these episodes. "You have been working too hard," I would tell her gently. "Maybe you need to talk to someone about managing stress better." She would usually brush off these suggestions, attributing her confusion to simple fatigue. What I did not know then was that Amanda had a family history of anxiety and sleep disorders that she rarely discussed. Her mother had experienced similar issues, but mental health was not something openly addressed in her family. This silence would later prove to have devastating consequences for all of us. The morning that changed everything started like any other Tuesday. I woke early, prepared breakfast for the family, and set up Lily's lunch for school. When Amanda came into the kitchen, I immediately sensed something was wrong. Her eyes were red-rimmed, as if she had been crying, and she avoided making eye contact with me. When I leaned in to give her my usual morning kiss, she turned away, busying herself with pouring coffee. "Everything okay?" I asked, confused by the cold treatment. "Fine," she replied curtly, focusing intensely on stirring honey into her tea. Throughout breakfast, the tension was palpable. Amanda spoke only to Lily, helping her get ready for school, while deliberately avoiding any interaction with me. Lily, blissfully unaware of the strange atmosphere, chatted excitedly about her upcoming field trip to the aquarium, showing me the permission slip I needed to sign. I tried several more times to understand what was bothering Amanda, but she deflected each attempt with one-word answers. Thinking she might have had a difficult night shift or was upset about something at work, I decided to give her space. I signed Lily's permission slip, helped her pack her backpack, and walked her to the end of our driveway to wait for the school bus. After waving goodbye to Lily as the bus pulled away, I returned to find Amanda standing rigidly in our living room, arms crossed tightly across her chest. The expression on her face sent a chill through me even before she spoke. "I need to talk to you about what I saw," she said, her voice trembling. Confused, I asked, "What are you talking about? What did you see?" Her eyes filled with tears as she blurted out, "I saw what you did to Lily in my dream last night." "How could you? She is your daughter." The accusation hit me like a physical blow. For several seconds I could not comprehend what she was saying. When understanding dawned, I felt sick to my stomach. "Amanda, what are you talking about? I would never, ever harm Lily." In any way, I stammered, trying to make sense of her words. "Do not lie to me," she shouted, tears streaming down her face now. "I saw you go into her room. I saw exactly what you did when you thought I was asleep. You sat on her bed and you touched her under her pajamas while telling her it was our special secret." The specific details of her accusation terrified me, not because there was any truth to them, but because of how convinced she seemed of something that had never happened. I tried to reason with her, explaining that dreams are not reality, that she was confusing a nightmare with actual events. "This was not just a dream," she insisted, her voice rising. "It was a vision showing me what has been happening right under my nose. It explains why Lily has been more clingy with me lately and less excited about your bedtime stories." This last comment cut deeply. Lily's behavior had not changed at all. She was the same happy, affectionate child with both of us. Amanda was constructing a narrative that had no basis in reality, yet she believed it completely. Amanda's conviction only grew stronger as our confrontation continued. She began listing other supposed evidence that I had somehow missed changes in Lily's behavior, claiming our daughter had become more withdrawn and had started having nightmares of her own. None of this was true. Lily was thriving in school, making friends easily and sleeping soundly through the night as she had for years. "I am calling my parents, and then I am calling the police," Amanda declared, reaching for her phone. "Amanda, please," I begged. "You need to think about what you are saying. You are accusing me based on a dream, not on anything that actually happened." She paused, phone in hand. "I know what I saw. Dreams do not have that level of detail, unless they are showing you something real." Before I could respond, she disappeared into our bedroom, emerging minutes later with an overnight bag. "I am going to get Lily from school. We are staying at my parents' until this is sorted out," she announced. "You cannot just take her," I protested. "We need to talk about this rationally. Please let us sit down with a counselor or therapist." "I am not leaving my daughter in this house with you for another night," she replied coldly, heading for the door. I followed her outside, still trying to reason with her, but she got into her car and drove away without another word. I stood in our driveway, watching her car disappear around the corner, feeling as though the ground had vanished beneath my feet. Within hours, my world imploded further. Amanda had not only taken Lily to her parents' house, but had also sent vague messages to our mutual friends, suggesting that she and Lily had left for their safety. Without explicitly repeating her accusation, she created an impression that I had done something terrible. The response was immediate. Text messages from friends stopped. Calls went unanswered. My messages to Amanda and her parents asking about Lily and attempting to address the situation were met with silence, or worse, brief texts telling me not to contact them again. The house that had been filled with Lily's laughter and our family life now echoed with unbearable silence. I walked from room to room, passing Lily's drawings magnetized to the refrigerator, her toys in the living room, her small shoes by the door. Each item a painful reminder of what I stood to lose. The emotional impact was overwhelming. The first night without them, I did not sleep at all. I sat in Lily's room looking at her collection of stuffed animals and books, trying to comprehend how my life had shattered so completely in a single day. By the second day, I could barely eat, my stomach knotted with anxiety and fear. Every interaction I had ever had with Lily played on loop in my mind. Had I ever done anything that could have been misinterpreted? Had I ever made her uncomfortable without realizing it? The answer was emphatically no, yet the nature of the accusation made me question everything. Beyond the heartbreak of being separated from my daughter was the terror of what might happen next. False accusations of this nature can destroy lives permanently. Even when proven innocent, the stigma never fully disappears. I could lose my job, my reputation, and most devastatingly, my relationship with Lily. On the third sleepless night, as I sat in our darkened living room contemplating calling a lawyer, my eyes drifted to the small red light of the security camera mounted in the corner. In my shock and distress, I had forgotten about our extensive home security system, the very technology that could prove my innocence. After days of emotional paralysis, the realization about the cameras jolted me back to problem-solving mode. Our security system recorded continuously storing footage in a secure cloud server that I could access. If Amanda claimed to have seen something happening during Lily's bedtime routine, the cameras in the hallway and on the stairs would have captured my actual movements during those times. With shaking hands, I logged into the security system's portal and began searching through the archived footage. The system was organized by date and camera location, making it relatively straightforward to find the relevant recordings. I started with the most recent weeks, working methodically backward, focusing on the evening hours when Lily would be getting ready for bed. The footage showed exactly what I knew to be true, normal, appropriate bedtime routines. Each night followed a similar pattern. I would help Lily brush her teeth in the hallway bathroom visible from the corridor camera. Then I would walk her to her bedroom, staying at the doorway as she picked out books for her bedtime stories. The camera positioned in the hallway clearly showed that I sat in the chair next to her bed, never on her bed itself, reading stories until she fell asleep. Then I would quietly leave, closing the door partially behind me. I specifically searched for the night Amanda mentioned in her accusation 2 days before she confronted me. The footage from that evening was crystal clear. I had read Lily 2 stories about an adventurous rabbit, then tucked her in, kissed her forehead, and left the room. I had then gone downstairs to the kitchen to prepare lunches for the next day, visible on the kitchen camera, before joining Amanda in the living room to watch a movie. There was nothing remotely inappropriate or concerning in any of the footage. I spent hours documenting everything, creating a timeline of the past month of evenings, with timestamps and screenshots from the security feeds. The evidence was irrefutable. Whatever Amanda thought she had seen in her dream bore no resemblance to reality. With this evidence in hand, I knew I needed professional guidance on how to proceed. I searched for attorneys specializing in family law and false accusations, finding Thomas Wilson, who had experience with similar cases. During our initial consultation, I explained the situation and showed him some of the security footage I had compiled. "This is strong, exonerating evidence," he confirmed after reviewing the materials. "But we need to be strategic about how we present it. Your wife genuinely believes what she saw in her dream was real, which suggests there may be psychological factors at play. A confrontational approach might backfire." Thomas advised me to first attempt a private resolution through Amanda's parents, who might be more receptive to viewing the evidence objectively. "If that does not work, we can consider legal options to protect your parental rights and reputation," he added, "but court proceedings would make this public and potentially more traumatic for everyone, especially Lily." Alongside legal counsel, I also began seeing a therapist, Dr. Sarah Jenkins, to help process the trauma of the accusation and separation from my daughter. During our sessions, she helped me understand that while my focus was naturally on clearing my name, I also needed to consider what might be happening with Amanda. "False accusations within families are complex," Dr. Jenkins explained. "Sometimes they stem from genuine delusions or confusions between dreams and reality, which can be symptoms of certain psychological or neurological conditions. Your wife may need help as much as you do right now." With this perspective in mind, I crafted a carefully worded email to Amanda's parents, Robert and Karen. Without accusation or anger, I explained that I had video evidence from our home security system that could resolve the situation. I emphasized my concern for both Lily and Amanda, suggesting that viewing this evidence together might be an important step toward understanding what was really happening. To my surprise, Robert called me the same day. His voice was guarded but not hostile. "We want what is best for Lily," he said. "If you have evidence, we are willing to look at it." The following evening, I drove to their house with my laptop containing the security footage. Amanda had chosen not to be present, staying at a friend's house, while Lily remained with her grandparents. The atmosphere was tense as I set up the computer on their dining room table. "Before we start," Karen said, "you should know that Amanda has never been one to exaggerate or lie. If she says she saw something, she believes it happened." "I understand," I replied. "I do not think Amanda is lying. I think she genuinely believes what she saw in her dream was real. That is why this footage is so important." I showed them the comprehensive timeline I had created, focusing specifically on the night Amanda had mentioned in her accusation. As they watched the normal, appropriate bedtime routine unfold on screen, I could see their expressions shifting from skepticism to confusion and finally to concern. "This clearly shows nothing inappropriate happened," Robert admitted, running a hand through his gray hair. "But Amanda is so convinced." It was then that Karen revealed something crucial. "Amanda has had episodes like this before when she was younger," she said hesitantly. "She would have such vivid dreams that she would insist they were real memories. The doctor called it a parasomnia disorder. Was she treated for it?" I asked, pieces starting to fall into place. "Yes, she was on medication through college," Robert explained. "But she stopped taking it a few years ago because the symptoms had disappeared and she wanted to start a family. The doctor said it was safe to try without the medication under supervision." "Did she tell you she recently stopped taking her medication again?" Karen asked, her expression troubled. This was new information to me. "No, she never mentioned being on medication at all, let alone stopping it." Karen sighed deeply. "Our family has always been private about mental health issues. Amanda's mother, my sister, had similar problems. There is a history there that Amanda might have been reluctant to share, even with you." As we continued talking, a clearer picture emerged. Amanda had likely been managing her condition successfully for years, with medication perhaps even through the early years of our marriage and after Lily's birth. Her recent decision to stop taking it, possibly due to side effects or a belief she no longer needed it, had apparently triggered a recurrence of symptoms, including the inability to distinguish between vivid dreams and reality. With Amanda's parents now understanding the situation better, we agreed to arrange a meeting where Amanda could see the evidence herself. Her best friend Jessica, a psychologist who had known Amanda since college, agreed to be present as emotional support. The meeting was set for the following day at her parents' house, with Lily spending the day with her cousin under the supervision of Karen's sister. When Amanda arrived, her initial reaction upon seeing me was a mixture of anger and fear. She refused to make eye contact and positioned herself as far away from me as possible in the living room. Jessica sat close beside her, a calming presence in the tense atmosphere. "We are here because we care about you," and Jessica began gently. "Steve has some information that might help clarify what has been happening." "I know what happened," Amanda insisted, her voice tight. "I saw it." "Would you be willing to look at some video footage from your home security cameras?" Jessica asked, just to make sure. After several minutes of resistance, Amanda reluctantly agreed to view the videos. As I played the footage from the night in question, showing the normal bedtime routine and my whereabouts throughout the evening, Amanda's expression changed from defiant to confused. "This cannot be right," she whispered, watching the clear evidence that contradicted her vivid dream. "I saw it so clearly. It felt completely real." Jessica placed a supportive hand on Amanda's shoulder. "Sometimes our minds can create experiences that feel real but are not, especially during sleep." The realization seemed to hit Amanda suddenly. Her face crumpled and she began to sob. "I have not been taking my medication," she confessed through tears. "I stopped about 2 months ago because the side effects were getting worse. I was going to talk to my doctor about alternatives, but then work got busy and I thought I was doing fine without it." "The medication for your sleep disorder?" I asked gently. She looked at me with surprise. "You know about that. Your parents just told me," I explained. "Amanda, why did you never share this with me? We are partners. I would have supported you." "I was ashamed," she admitted. "My family never talked about these things. When I was younger, my episodes scared me and the other kids called me crazy when I insisted things had happened that were just dreams. When I met you, I had been stable for years. I thought that part of my life was over." As the conversation continued, Amanda described how her sleep terrors and vivid dreams had returned gradually after stopping the medication. At first they were just strange dreams, but they progressively became more realistic and disturbing. The dream about me and Lily had felt so viscerally real that she had been convinced it was a repressed memory surfacing, not a creation of her sleep-disordered mind. "I was so scared for Lily," she explained, tears streaming down her face. "I thought I was protecting her. I never imagined I could hurt you so badly based on something that never happened." Her parents shared more about their family history of similar disorders and their regret at having reinforced a culture of silence around mental health issues. "We should have encouraged you to be open with Steve from the beginning," Robert acknowledged. By the end of that emotional meeting, Amanda had agreed to see a psychiatrist specializing in sleep disorders. The doctor confirmed her previous diagnosis and prescribed a new medication with fewer side effects, along with therapy, to help her develop better awareness of episodes when they might be occurring. The path to healing our family was neither quick nor easy. We began attending family therapy sessions together, learning to rebuild trust and communication. Amanda worked diligently with her doctors to manage her condition, tracking her sleep patterns and reporting any unusual dreams or confusion. Explaining the situation to Lily required careful consideration. With guidance from our family therapist, we told her a simplified version of events. "Mommy was having some mixed-up dreams that made her confused and scared. She is seeing a special doctor to help her dreams not be so scary anymore. That is why she and Daddy seemed upset with each other, but we are working together to make things better." Lily, with the resilience of childhood, accepted this explanation readily. She was simply happy to have both parents at home again, though it took time for our family routines to regain their former ease and comfort. The social aftermath of the accusation proved challenging to navigate. Some friends and acquaintances who had heard vague rumors remained distant even after Amanda reached out to clarify that her accusations had been a misunderstanding due to a medical condition. Others immediately rallied around us with support once they understood the situation. I learned painful lessons about how quickly people can turn away based on an accusation alone, and how some relationships could never fully recover from that breach of trust. At the same time, I gained deeper appreciation for those who stood by us or reserved judgment until knowing all the facts. The stigma lingered in subtle ways. I noticed parents at Lily's school sometimes watching me with caution during events or playdates, despite Amanda's efforts to personally correct any misimpressions she had created. These experiences were painful reminders of how allegations, even when proven false, leave lasting marks on reputations. Yet through this ordeal, our family emerged with a new foundation built on honesty and communication. Amanda and I established complete transparency about her condition, with regular check-ins about her medication and symptoms. We developed a protocol for periods when she might be experiencing episodes, including a system for noting dreams that felt particularly real, so we could discuss them objectively in the light of day. The security cameras that had saved my reputation remained in our home, now serving as a tool for Amanda's peace of mind as well. During periods when she felt uncertain about the boundary between dreams and reality, she could review footage to ground herself in objective truth. Perhaps most importantly, we broke the cycle of silence about mental health that had contributed to the crisis. Amanda began speaking openly with her extended family about her condition, encouraging cousins and younger relatives to seek help for their own symptoms rather than hiding them out of shame or fear of stigma. Lily continued to thrive despite the temporary turbulence in our family. Her natural resilience and the secure attachment she had with both parents helped her adjust quickly once our home environment stabilized again. If anything, the experience seemed to make her more empathetic toward others as she learned early that sometimes people need extra help and understanding when their minds work differently. 1 year after the accusation that nearly destroyed our family, we celebrated a quiet anniversary of sorts. Not of the event itself, but of our journey toward healing. Amanda's condition had stabilized with her new treatment plan. She had returned to nursing, though she had transferred to a day shift position with more regular hours to maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Our marriage, tested by an unimaginable challenge, had emerged stronger through intense work and commitment on both sides. Trust, once shattered, had been painstakingly rebuilt. I had learned to forgive Amanda, understanding that her actions came from a place of genuine fear for our daughter, triggered by a medical condition she had been conditioned to hide rather than address openly. Amanda had worked through layers of guilt and shame, both for the false accusation and for not being honest about her condition from the beginning of our relationship. "I almost lost everything because I was too ashamed to tell you the truth," she reflected during a quiet moment together. "Never again. The experience fundamentally changed my perspective on marriage and partnership. I had always believed communication was important, but now I understood that true intimacy requires creating a safe space where even the most difficult truths can be shared without fear of judgment. Mental health could no longer be a taboo subject in our home. I also gained a profound appreciation for the technology that had saved not just my reputation but our entire family unit. Those security cameras, installed for one purpose, had served an entirely different and crucial function when crisis struck. It was a powerful reminder that evidence and objective truth matter tremendously in a world where accusations alone can destroy lives. Most precious of all, my relationship with Lily remained untainted by the false accusation. She continued to run to me for bedtime stories and Saturday pancakes, unaware of how close we had come to losing those treasured routines. Watching her grow and thrive reinforced my determination to ensure our home remained a place of safety, honesty, and unconditional love. The journey through this ordeal taught me about the delicate balance between trust and verification in all relationships. While blind trust makes us vulnerable, constant suspicion destroys connection. Finding the middle ground where love is the foundation but open eyes acknowledge human fallibility became my new philosophy. I developed deeper compassion for Amanda, recognizing the terror she must have felt believing our daughter was in danger. Despite the trauma, her false accusation caused her motivation came from maternal protection, not malice. This understanding was crucial to genuine forgiveness. Perhaps the most important lesson was about the necessity of addressing mental health openly and proactively. Too many families suffer in silence, hiding conditions that could be managed with proper treatment behind walls of shame and secrecy. That silence almost cost us everything. If our story helps even one family break through that silence and seek help before crisis strikes, then sharing this painful chapter of our lives will have been worthwhile. Mental health conditions are medical issues, not character flaws or family secrets to be hidden away. They require the same open discussion and treatment as any other health concern. Have you ever faced a situation where technology unexpectedly saved you from a serious misunderstanding? How did you handle rebuilding trust after it was broken? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing to support more content that sheds light on the complex challenges families face. And if you know someone who might be struggling with mental health stigma sharing, this could help them feel less alone. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that with compassion, evidence, and open communication, even the most broken trust can be healed.